the last Padres game, preview today's starting pitching matchup, give you our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Craig Stammen. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network, as today the Padres take on the Atlanta Braves in the third game of a four-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for Atlanta, left-hander Martin Perez, and for the Padres, right-hander Michael King. Hi, good everybody. Sam Levitt with you from inside our Padres Radio Network studios. First pitch coming up at 4:15 p.m. here on the West Coast. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we have a lot to do. You'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. You'll hear from today's first baseman, Ty France. We check in with Tony Gwynn Jr. from Atlanta in just a little bit. Our keys to today's game and much, much more. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products. Excuse me. From Fraser Farms Market. Let's do that one more time for our good friends at Fraser Farms Market. First, it is time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa, Vista, and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. All right, much, much better. Padres are 50-51 entering today. They entered today 2 games out of a wild card spot in the National League, despite going 2-3 on this 10-game road trip so far. Padres have actually gained a game and a half in the wild card standings since the All-Star break. Braves, meanwhile, 58-42. They're sitting in first place in the National League East, a 3-game lead on the Phillies entering today. Well, the Padres lost their series opener on Monday in Atlanta, but last night the Stars were starring. Let's quickly rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Top of the first inning yesterday at Truist Park. Ty France put the Padres ahead early.
Pitch here, lined up the middle into center field. How about a 9-game hitting streak and an RBI single for Ty France? Tatis trots home from first, and the Padres get one here, 1-0 in the top of the first inning.
Padres trail 2-1 going to the fourth inning. Jackson Merrill led off.
A 1 pitch hit in the air deep to right center field. Hicklin is going back. This one is up and gonna go. Jackson Merrill got a curveball in the zone, and he hammers it. Tie game here in the fourth.
Padres not done in that fourth inning. They would take a 3-2 lead on a ground out. Later in the inning, it was Fernando.
First pitch, Fernando laces it the other way towards the right field corner. That'll bounce and hit up against the base of the wall. Picked up by Hicklin. Tatis cruises into second with an RBI double. The Padres have added to their lead. It's now 4-2.
Let's go to the fifth inning. Padres still up 4-2. Manny Machado led off.
I would have.
And he laces it in the air to deep center field. Harris is back. He's looking up. This one gonna go. Second of the night for Manny Machado. Number 391 in his major league career. He leaves the yard for a second consecutive inning, and it's 6-2.
All right, well, that was the second home run that Manny hit. He would hit his 21st of the season in the fifth inning, a solo shot, his 22nd of the season in the sixth inning, a solo shot. That made it 6-2. Padres were up 6-3 in the eighth inning, a runner on base for Fernando Tatis Jr.
Rengifo runs, and Fernando hits it in the air, deep to left center field. Forget it. Dubon's not even going to turn to watch. A long home run. 474 feet for Fernando Tatis Jr. And a 2-run put-away shot here in the eighth. It's 8-3.
The longest home run hit by anybody in the major leagues this season. That 8-3 score would be our final yesterday. Padres bouncing back nicely in game 2 of the 4-game series in Atlanta. Jackson Merrill, Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., all hitting home runs. Manny, in fact, with 2 of them as the Padres pick up their 50th win of the season. As we get ready for first pitch coming up at 4:15 from Atlanta, let's go out to Truist Park.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Tony Gwynn Jr. in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, Tony, before we focus on Game 3 of this 4-game series coming up in just a little bit, to revisit last night, obviously a big day offensively. Manny, Jackson, Fernando all getting in on the fun as far as the power. It felt like last night, and look, the Padres have a lot of work to do. They're still a game under 500. They've got a lot to figure out over the course of the next 2+ months. But it did feel like yesterday was a good reminder of when those guys can do those types of things. Maybe the ceiling for this team is higher, or I should say as high as it can possibly be when you got those guys doing those types of things.
Yeah, no, that is the ceiling for the Padres offensively. What you saw last night was kind of a culmination of those big three you mentioned, aided by, a tied France and the rest of the game, really up and down the lineup, they did damage. And that's what it looks like at its best. And so, yeah, it was encouraging to see not only that, but you also got a good pitching performance from Walker Buehler. And for the first time in a long time, it felt like you got both of the things that you need in order to win a ball game. And they won it relatively easy. Now we flip the page of the day. Can they do it again? Can they do it in back-to-back games, have a solid pitching, solid offense, and see if they can get another victory?
Well, they've got the right guy on the mound today, and Michael King. We'll talk more about him in a second. Tony, I want to talk about Fernando a little bit more. 3 home runs on this road trip. The average has been there all season long. The power seemingly is starting to come more consistently. Are you seeing anything different with Fernando right now, or is this just him finally coming around from a power standpoint?
I think it's just him coming around from a power standpoint. And you kind of mentioned that the average has been up really most of the year, outside maybe a couple of months there early, but he has really swung the bat well, and it seemed like to me it was just a matter of time before the power started to show up. And I think honestly, once Toddy got to a place where he was no longer concerned about it, and I think he kind of said it, if it comes, it comes. And once you get to that standpoint as a hitter where it's not something at the forefront of your mind, it actually kind of frees you up. And I think his swing has been trending towards what we saw last night, really for quite some time.
Michael King, like we said on the mound today, he was pretty good in Kansas City on Friday. 1 run given up in 5 innings. He's had some very, very good starts against the Atlanta Braves over the last couple of seasons. Tony, what will you be looking for from Michael King in this one?
I would disagree with you a little bit. I don't know that he was pretty good. I think he was good enough against the Royals when he went 5-1. But I think Mike would tell you that 5 innings is not what he has for his expectation for himself. And I think we've seen him have starts very similar to the one that he had in Kansas City, where he's good enough where he's going to be able to manage a lineup and get through and give up a few runs, but it wasn't very economical. He used a lot of pitches, which is ultimately why he only went 5, despite only giving up the 1. I think, there's a lot more in there when it comes to Michael King. And I think the Padres set up well, as you kind of mentioned, to maybe do this back-to-back days because he's on the mound. But I think you got to have the better version of Michael King if the Padres want to continue. Really, what we've seen the last 2 nights is 2 really good starts, and last night's game, good offense to go along with that really good start.
Especially against this Braves lineup, which has been pretty quiet in the first 2 games of this series. We know they're obviously very, very capable of kind of busting out at any time. To talk about Martin Perez a little bit, Tony, he's coming off the IL today, former Padre. He had been struggling a little bit before going on the IL. Padres have already seen him once before this season. Your thoughts on the challenge of facing Martin Perez here tonight?
I think Martin's in a tough spot, right? He's coming off the IL, and anytime, and we've seen it from our own standpoint. Anytime a guy comes off the IL, you really don't know what you're going to get in terms of not only length, but what kind of command is going to be there first time back. The Padres handled him pretty well in that last matchup. He only went 4 innings. Padres were able to score 3 runs on him in those 4 innings. And so, I like that the Padres have seen him relatively recently, and and he hasn't pitched relatively recently. So I think this is kind of a good mix for the Padres. Can they take advantage of it tonight?
And by the way, we were talking about that Michael King outing on Friday. I went back, I looked at the box score. You're right. It was not a great outing for Michael. I think I kind of forgot the whole thing because of the way the game ended, the way it went as that game got later. That was not the headline from that one. Tony, as always, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you and Jesse coming up in a little while. Thanks so much.
Take care, Sam.
All right, Tony Gwynn Jr. joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 4:15. When we come back, we'll take our first look at the Padre lineup here today. Plus, we hear from Padre manager Craig Stammen. A little bit later, we hear from the red-hot Ty France. He has been so good for the Padres as of late. And yesterday, the big story, not just what Ty did, but what Jackson Merrill did, what Fernando did, what Manny did. We'll see if the Padres can make it 2 really productive offensive games in a row as they get ready for game 3 of this 4-game series against the Braves. Our pregame coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network.
Stay tuned to the
Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our Padres Radio Network studios as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 4:15 p.m. in Atlanta. The Padres taking on the Atlanta Braves in Game 3 of this 4-game series. As always, our pregame coverage brought to you by EcoWater SoCal at keeping it soft since 1925. Visit EcoWaterSoCal.com or call 760-350-3333. 3338. That's 760-350-3338. Let's take a look at the Padres lineup here today. Looks a little interesting. Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field leading off. That is not the interesting part. That's become commonplace. But how about Luis Rengifo not only getting a start today, but DHing and batting second? Manny Machado at third base batting third. Ty France at first base batting cleanup. Jackson Merrill in center field batting fifth. Luis Camposano doing the catching and batting sixth. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop batting seventh. Jake Cronenworth at second base batting eighth. And Jace Bowen getting a start in left field tonight and batting ninth with right-hander Michael King on the mound. As we get ready for this one, let's hear from the Padres skipper.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
Could we just savor yesterday a little bit more and talk about how fun it was to see the long ball? How much did you enjoy seeing that part of the game showing up for your ball right now?
Yeah, it's great when our great players show what they can do and the immense talent that they have. And, it shows that we have a chance, right? It proves that, what we've been talking about, being patient with these guys and letting them find a way to get hot, could eventually, take our season in another direction. And so that's what we love to see last night. And hopefully that's a sign of things to come.
We've talked about it a lot, and actually we've seen an example of that with the Red Sox in a way. They struggled offensively early on, and now they got that big, long winning streak that didn't do great. And when you see something like that, is that the type of thing where you feel like, hey, you're not just hoping for a pipe dream, it actually does happen?
Yeah, I think hopefully we've all had enough experience in baseball that we believe anything can happen. And we've seen about anything happen, and that's the beauty of the game.
Yeah. That's Michael King. He's been off and on all season long in terms of having his number one weapon, the two-seamer. It seems like it's been a little bit more consistent recently, but even on a night where he doesn't have it, he's still able to get it done with fastballs and changeups and the other stuff in his repertoire. What do you expect to see out of him tonight and his ability to continue to battle?
Yeah, I think he's facing an opponent that he likes to face. So I think that's a good feeling. And Michael's had a few good starts here of late, so he's been pitching well and finding his stuff. He's our best starting pitcher right now, and so we're excited when he's on the mound.
Yeah. At least for Rengifo, you had mentioned the other day you were going to try to find ways to get him more playing time. You've done that, and now he gets a big bump and will end up to number two. I guess continuing to impress you guys.
Yeah, and I think a lot to do with us facing a lefty pitcher tonight. He's a better right-handed hitter, of his two sides that he hits from. And so putting him up at the top of the lineup, facing a lefty pitcher gives us a good advantage, someone that can move the baseball, bunt if we have to, but just play the game of baseball, similar to the way Jake did last night against the right-handed pitcher.
What have you learned about him? It's only been a couple weeks, but this allowed him to come in and fit some signals.
Yeah, one is I think we've got some coaches that are familiar with him from the Angels. We played against him when he was with the Brewers, and then him specifically, what I've found from him, he's very energetic every day. He's always smiling. He's someone you like being around. He gives energy. And then we've seen him on the field. Like he's a kind of a little bit of a hit collector here of late. And so, those base hits are kind of what we're looking for, get things started, get things going. And he's been a part of a lot of our big rallies.
What have you noticed? I mean, you did see him with the Brewers. He wasn't playing particularly well then than he is now. What have you noticed maybe about his swing that's kind of allowing him to drive?
He played good against us. I think if you remember right, he had a bunch of hits hitting left-handed in the games that he played against us. So I've only seen him hit. I don't know about, the days that he doesn't hit, but I'm sure for everybody, there are days that they don't hit. Nobody hits 1,000. So we've seen a lot of good stuff from him thus far, and hopefully that continues.
Luis is originally from Augusta, about 2 hours from here. Do you have any thoughts on that, how that feels for major league players to kind of come home, especially since you travel across the country for 6 months out of the year?
Yeah, I think it's for Luis, he probably circles this Atlanta trip every single year. For me, from being from Ohio, I circled the Cincinnati trip every single year. It's always exciting to go back to a familiar place, probably a place he came and watched baseball games with his family, and one he dreamed of playing on, his entire life. So to be able to come home, be in your home state, the air smells the same. There's just a lot of good positive vibes of playing close to your hometown. And, it's the days in the major leagues that you don't forget are those kind of days.
How would you just describe his impact just on the field for you guys, especially this season?
Yeah, he's been great this season. He's been a great player for us his entire career. Been a top prospect for us in the minor leagues for a long time. And now I think he's finally finding his footing here in the major leagues. But he's our number one catcher right now. The offense behind the plate that we haven't had the last few seasons, he's providing that right now. and he's doing a really good job with our pitching staff. So, all arrows pointing up for Luis Campusano.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen earlier today inside the Padres dugout. We'll hear more from Craig on our post-game coverage coming up later on this evening. Sam Levitt back with you inside our Padres Radio Network studios as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 4:15. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to step up their game? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not. Presented by ASAP Drain Guys and Plumbing, a division of Anderson Commercial, your full-service plumber serving San Diego County.
Let's begin with a look at a couple of guys in the hot category. Fernando Tatis Jr., certainly in that category, 9 for 20 with 3 home runs, 9 RBIs in 5 games since the All-Star break. 8 home runs in his last 45 games after he hit none in his first 55 games of the season. Ty France, certainly in that category as well. A 9-game hitting streak, hitting .455 in that span with 11 RBIs. France has an extra base hit in 5 consecutive games. 4 home runs, 3 doubles in those 5 games. Ty France, how about this? And this is something to watch here today as the Padres face left-hander Martin Perez on the mound for Atlanta. Ty is hitting .338 with a .569 slugging percentage against left-handed pitching this season. So tonight a matchup that certainly favors Ty France. As far as the not category, well, Gavin Sheets is not in the lineup today, and part of the reason, not only is there a lefty on the mound, but also Gavin is really going through it right now. He is only 1 for his last 30, so he put Gavin in the not category today. And that's a quick look at who's hot, who's not. We've already had some pretty eventful things happen around the majors today. Let's tell you more about it as we go around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
We have a very busy schedule around Major League Baseball today, including 2 doubleheaders. The Red Sox already played the first game of a doubleheader and beat the Orioles 6-3. The Red Sox 15th straight win. That matches a club record for the longest win streak in team history. First time the Red Sox have won 15 in a row since 1946. That was a team led by future Hall of Famer Ted Williams. So if the Red Sox can win the nightcap of that doubleheader, that would give them a new franchise record for a win streak in Red Sox history. Red Sox have been around a long time. They're going to go for his 16th consecutive win later on this evening. Salvador Perez has tied the Royals franchise home run record, the 317th home run of his career earlier today against the Giants. That ties George Brett for the most all-time in Royals franchise history. Speaking of the Royals, shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. has gone on the IL for the very first time in his career. He is dealing with lower back tightness. Guardians third baseman Jose Ramirez is back. He was activated from the IL earlier today after missing 5 weeks following surgery to remove the hamate bone in his left hand. And finally, speaking of guys coming off the IL, Yankees left-hander Max Fried is coming off the injured list for tonight's nightcap of a doubleheader against the Pirates. The lefty has been out since mid-May because of a left elbow bone bruise. The Yankees lost the opener of a doubleheader earlier today to the Pirates in extra innings. And that is a look at some of the headlines from around the major leagues as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 4:15 in Atlanta. When we come back, we'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, our keys to today's game, plus Padres Spanish language radio broadcaster Pedro Gutierrez goes one-on-one with the red-hot Ty France. Much, much more to do as we get ready for the third game of this 4-game series against the Braves right here on the Padres Radio Network.
Hey, friends, it's Woodsy here.
Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our Padres Radio Network studios as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 4:15. Right-hander Michael King on the mound for the Padres today. Former Padre left-hander Martin Perez on the mound for Atlanta. Remember, Perez was so good for the Padres towards the end of 2024. Really was terrific after he got traded to San Diego. And Martin Perez, he's had a little bit of a rough go of it as of late, coming off the IL today, in fact. So that's interesting. We'll talk more about Martin Perez coming up in just a little bit. Speaking of the IL, let's give you today's injury news.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Well, really nothing new to report today. We told you about, like we said, Perez coming off the IL for Atlanta. That's their major injury news today. As far as the Padres, nothing new to report today per se. Miguel Andujar, of course, placed on the IL before this series started. He was hit by a pitch on Sunday. He is dealing with a right wrist fracture. Rodolfo Duran recalled from AAA to replace him. Significant still, we've talked about this week already. Joe Musgrove and Nick Pivetta both expected to face hitters for the first time this week in Arizona. Sounds like that is scheduled for Friday. Jeremiah Estrada is in the midst of a rehab assignment with AAA El Paso. And then that's about it on the Padres side of things. Mike Yastrzemski, he was activated from the IL yesterday for Atlanta, was in their lineup yesterday. Yastrzemski back in the lineup here today for the Braves, DHing and batting sixth. And that's about all the injury news today for the Padres and the Braves. I do want to just quickly look here. I meant to do this before we went on the air. Jeremiah Estrada did pitch yesterday for AAA El Paso. Through just a third of an inning, allowed one hit. He did walk two, so I'm not sure how many pitches he threw. Doesn't say here on the game log, but he did make an appearance for AAA El Paso as part of that rehab assignment yesterday. Certainly the Padres could use Jeremiah Estrada to get back and be a part of this bullpen, and we'll give you updates on Jeremiah and everybody else as we continue on throughout our pregame coverage throughout the rest of this road trip. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Well, as I said, we have a lot of action today around the major leagues. We have two doubleheaders going on today. Let's begin with the Cardinals and the Angels in Anaheim. That game just went final. Cardinals won 1-0. Home run by J.J. Weatherholt, the lone run in that game as St. Louis wins it. Reds beat the Mariners 5-3 in Seattle. Sal Stewart hit a go-ahead 3-run home run in the seventh inning to lift Cincinnati to a win. Diamondbacks beat up on the A's earlier 15-5 in Arizona. Nationals blanking the Rockies 8-0 in Colorado. Royals beat the Giants 5-4 in Kansas City. Brewers beat the Mets 4-3 in Milwaukee. Game one of a doubleheader between the Red Sox and Orioles. Red Sox won it 6-3. Red Sox have won 15 in a row. If they do win the nightcap of that doubleheader later on this evening, it will be a new franchise record in Red Sox history for a win streak. That would be a 16th consecutive win. We'll see if the Red Sox can do it today. And the Pirates lost to the Yankees, Pirates beat the Yankees 5-3 in New York in game one of a doubleheader earlier today. Final in 10 innings there. Ben Rice hit a 3-run home run for New York, but the Pirates getting 2 runs in the top of the 10th inning to win it. Games going on right now. Dodgers and the Phillies in Philadelphia. They're in the first inning there, no score. Twins ahead of the Guardians early on in the first inning in Cleveland, 1-0. Rays and the Blue Jays coming up later on this evening. The Tigers visit the Cubs at Wrigley Field. White Sox in Arlington against the Rangers. And finally, the Marlins, who have lost 8 in a row, are now 52-50 on the season. They are in Houston to take on the Astros. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Wednesday. We'll have much more on all those games coming up a little bit later during our post-game coverage. Well, Ty France continues to not just get it done at the plate. You could argue right now with how good Ty France has been. You could make the argument Ty France has been this team's MVP. I mean, he has been that good. He's in the midst of a 9-game hitting streak. He has 5 home runs in his last 7 games. And on top of that, you know that Ty has been awfully good defensively at first base as well. So Ty France, who came up as a Padre, returned to the Padres on a minor league deal, made the team out of spring training. What a story Ty France has been for this ball club in 2026. Padres Spanish language radio broadcaster Pedro Gutierrez caught up with Ty inside the Padres clubhouse earlier today.
Ty, you seem to be in a pretty good run right now recently. Just talk about like a little bit of your approach, what you've been feeling, and how's that been able to pay off in good results?
Yeah, I mean, feeling pretty good at the play right now. Use the All-Star break to kind of rest and recover, and try to hit the ground running when we got back. And it's been good so far. Just trying to get good pitches. Pitches I can do damage on and put good swings on them.
What's been a big part of your game this year? It's not just having the impact with the bat, impact at first base, defense. Just how rewarding is it for you knowing that you can be able to be in a good spot for the team, both offense and defense?
Yeah, I mean, I take a lot of pride in the defensive work. Especially coming off the Gold Glove last year. You're constantly having to prove yourself in this game, and me coming into this year wanting to show that last year wasn't a fluke. I'm a good defender, and so putting in the work with Gogo and just doing the best I can on both sides. Trying to be a complete player and do whatever I can to help this team.
Just trying to take stock a little bit of what 2026 has been for you. Signed as a minor league free agent, invite, spring training. You look at the depth chart, 2 other major league signings came in with a similar profile, Castellanos and Duhar. It's in baseball. You produce, you play. You've been able to contribute to this ball club. Just how rewarding has it been knowing that you sort of had to start again from the bottom up, but obviously the results now speak for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I give a lot of credit to AJ and the group for being, open and honest with me when I signed here, and basically saying if you perform, you'll win a job, and they've given me every opportunity to do that. So. For me coming into spring training, I know I'm capable of it. I know it's still I got a lot in the tank, and I love the city of San Diego. So to be able to do it here, it was personal for me, and I wanted to come out and prove that I'm, the same player I was a couple years ago.
When we talk about your career, the blink of an eye was 2019. You made your major league debut. You got traded. A lot has happened ever since. You just spoke about Gold Glove, World Series, All-Star, but now being able to have all that experience and being back to where it all started, just in general, how have you felt this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's great being back. Like all the stuff you touched on, it's been, an unbelievable journey. The ups and downs, the good and the bad. It's made me the player I am today, and to be back where it all started is special. And I take a lot of pride in that, and it means a lot putting this jersey on, and every day I put it on and go out there and give it my all.
Finally, crunch time, 60 games left in the season. Make that final push. Just in general, can you share a little bit about the vibes clubhouse right now, what you're all working towards that one goal? Just try to, at the end of the day, get one more run than your opposition and hopefully put one more in the win column. Just in general, is that sort of what you're working on together?
Yeah, I mean, we all know where we're at in the standings and what it's going to take to get to where we want to go. And kind of like you said, it's just scoring one more run than the other team. And I think every single guy in here knows that, and the intent is there every day. And you personally watching every single one of these guys work, they're working with a purpose, and hopefully at the end of these 60 games we can look up and say we did everything we could to put ourselves in position to where we want to be.
That was tonight's first baseman, Ty France, the red-hot Ty France, along with Pedro Gutierrez, Padres Spanish language radio broadcaster. Great conversation there. Big thank you to Pedro for providing it, doing a great job inside the Padres clubhouse. As we get ready for first pitch coming up at 4:15, third game of this 4-game series between the Padres and the Braves. Sam Levitt back with you inside our Padres Radio Network studios. Let's give you our keys to tonight's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Rock and Block Turf and Hardscapes. Beautiful artificial turf that stays green all year long. Trust and experience. The job isn't done until it's done right. See them at rockandblocklandscape.com.
Key number one, Manny continuing to mash against Atlanta. Manny Machado is hitting .355 with 7 home runs, 17 RBIs in 21 games against the Atlanta Braves since the beginning of 2024. That includes the postseason, that wild card series in 2024. A note on Machado, who has 3 home runs in his past 2 games. His .973 OPS in his past 35 games ranks 15th in the major leagues in that span. So Manny now for an extended stretch really has been swinging the bat a lot better. And certainly from a slug and OPS standpoint, he has really been far more productive than he was earlier in the season. He's hit 3 home runs in the 2 games of this series. We told you about this note yesterday, and I thought it was pretty fascinating considering Manny is probably going to Cooperstown one day. How about this? Manny Machado has never hit 4 home runs in a single series in his whole career. Never. He's got 2 games to do it in Atlanta. He has 3 so far in 2 games. He gets 1 more. And for the first time in his career, Manny will have a 4 home run series. Hopefully Manny can do that here in the next couple of days. As far as key number 2, pretty basic here. Just keep doing what you're doing against these Braves hitters. Reality is Padres have really limited this Braves offense, even though they've only won one of the 2 games. 3 runs on 4 hits for Atlanta on Monday, 3 runs on 4 hits for Atlanta on Tuesday. Keep in mind, this is a Braves offense that scored 29 runs over the weekend in 3 games against the Texas Rangers. So why have the Padres limited the Atlanta offense? Well, how about this? Drake Baldwin, no hits in 9 plate appearances. Matt Olson has 1 hit in 8 plate appearances. Austin Riley, no hits in 7 plate appearances. Michael Harris, he's been okay, 2 hits in 7 plate appearances. But again, you're looking at no hits for Dubon, no hits for Baldwin, 1 hit for Olson, no hits for Riley. Those guys have not been a factor in this series so far. So can the Padres do something to that effect again here in this one today? That's key number 2, and that's a look at our keys to today's game. When we come back, we'll dive much, much deeper into tonight's starting pitching matchup. Couple of veterans going at it. Michael King on the mound for the Padres. Left-hander Martin Perez on the mound for Atlanta as we get you ready for first pitch coming up at 4:15 on the Padres Radio Network.
Keep it locked to the
Padres baseball coming up here on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. First pitch at 4:15 p.m. here on the West Coast in Atlanta as the Padres get ready to play Game 3 of this 4-game series. Our starting pitching matchup, Michael King against Martin Perez. We'll talk plenty more about those starting pitchers coming up in just a moment. We send things out to Jesse and Tony in under 7 minutes as the Padres go for a second consecutive win. Let's tell you what to watch for in tonight's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovements.com.
We talked earlier about how yesterday the stars were starring, right? Manny Machado, 2 home runs. Fernando Tatis Jr. hit the longest home run in the majors this season. Jackson Merrill had another good game. He hit a home run. Let's focus on Jackson Merrill. And the question here tonight is, can Jackson put together 2 good games in a row? And I say that because you look at what he did Sunday. He had a great day against Kansas City in that 19-run outburst, then a very quiet Monday in Atlanta, then a really good game yesterday. Can Jackson put together another one? That's been part of the issue for Jackson this season. Not so much that he hasn't had the ability to show flashes of what we know he can be, but the consistency of it hasn't quite been there most of this year. Jackson Merrill, 2 hits yesterday, the home run, a walk. He's homered 3 times in his last 3 games. Of his 13 home runs on the season, 11 have been recorded on the road, including each of his last 10 home runs. So can Jackson Merrill put together another solid game on the road? That's what to watch for in today's game. We'll see if he can do that in Atlanta. Let's break down today's starting pitching matchup.
Let's break down how today's starters are shaping up with our starting pitching preview on the Padres Radio Network.
On the mound for the Braves, left-hander Martin Perez. The 35-year-old returns from the IL today after dealing with a forearm contusion. This will be his first start in 2.5 weeks. He comes in 6-6, a 3.54 ERA, 18 outings this season, 14 starts, 81-plus innings. He gave up 5 runs, 4 earned in 4-plus innings against the Mets back on July 5th. He exited that outing after taking a Juan Soto liner off his left forearm. That's why he went on the IL. Perez has not been great before going on the IL, 7.43 ERA in his last 3 starts. He faced the Padres in San Diego on June 24th. He gave up 3 runs in 4 innings. And how about this? Ty France hit a home run against him in that game. So certainly a matchup to watch here tonight. Meanwhile, on the mound for the Padres, right-hander Michael King, the 31-year-old, comes in 3.34 ERA in 20 starts this season, 113-plus innings. Gave up 1 run in 5 innings in Kansas City on Friday, a 1.33 ERA in 4 career outings against Atlanta, including the postseason. And he was once again terrific against them on June 22nd in San Diego and 7 shutout innings. And that's a look at our starting pitching matchup here today. Former Padre left-hander Martin Perez on the mound for Atlanta and right-hander Michael King on the mound for San Diego. Well, let's set the table one more time for you as we get ready for Game 3 of this 4-game series. Padres come in a record of 50-51. They enter the day 2 games out of a wild card spot in the National League. Padres trying to pull back even to 500, not just with their overall record, but on this road trip. Padres right now 2-3 on the trip. Braves, meanwhile, 58-42. They are sitting in first place in the National League East, a 3-game lead on the Phillies entering today. As always, we appreciate you listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. When we return, we send things out to Truist Park in Atlanta. Jesse Ackler, Tony Gwynn Jr. have full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.